Hello and welcome to a Deeper PTE. I'm Permission to Exist, and this is a spin-off channel of my main channel devoted to identification, avoidance, and healing from narcissistic abuse. My subscribers requested that I create a spin-off channel to dive deeper into subjects like religion, spirituality, far-out theories, and everything in between. So this is the answer to that request. This is the pilot video for this channel. I hope you all enjoy it, and I look forward to your feedback. The first topic that we're going to cover is evacuation of the spirit. So the very first thing we have to do is discuss the definition of evacuation or evacuate. Evacuate is a verb that means to leave empty or vacate, to remove persons or things from a place as a dangerous place or disaster area for reasons of safety or protection, to remove persons from a city, town, building, area, etc. for reasons of safety. Military, to remove troops, wounded soldiers, civilians, etc. from a war zone, combat area, etc. To withdraw from or quit. Physiology, to discharge or eject as through the excretory passages, especially from the bowels, to deprive, and verb also to leave a place because of military or other threats, to void or defecate. And that's our definition of evacuate. Let's get into what this all means. First, I believe that the body is occupied by a spirit. So in essence, the body is a vehicle for the spirit. Much like how you get into your car, fire it up, drive around, that's exactly what the spirit does with your body. When you're born, the spirit enters the body, fires you up, and drives you around life for however long that you're here. However, also just like a car, the spirit can't stay in the body forever. It has to get out and walk around sometimes. This is my personal belief about why we go to sleep. We go to sleep so the spirit can take a break. Have you ever been stuck in traffic for hours? Eventually your car can start to feel like a prison. All you want to do is pull over somewhere, park, get out, stretch your legs, stretch your arms, take a breather before you get back in the car and go back on the highway. I believe this is the exact same thing that the spirit does when we go to sleep. It needs a break. Living on planet Earth is extremely exhausting. Even for people who have little to no stress in their life, it's still an exhausting thing to do. A 10 or 12-hour road trip is an exhausting thing to do, even if you're very much looking forward to where you're going. Even if you're in the car with people you really like and enjoy, or even if you're in the car all by yourself with a ton of music to listen to, a ton of podcasts to listen to, you're excited about the road trip, it's still a long road trip. And at some point you have to get out of the car and take a break. So in regard to this video, the evacuation of the spirit, it's my personal belief that when a human being undergoes long-term trauma or extended trauma, the spirit vacates altogether and does not return until the body is in better shape for it to occupy it again. So going back to the car analogy, it's almost like if your car breaks down, you're not just going to sit in your car hoping that it fixes itself. You're going to take the car to the shop, you're going to get a rental, and you're going to wait until your actual vehicle has been repaired so you can go occupy it again. I believe this is the exact same thing the spirit does when it's exposed to long-term trauma. So how many of you have ever had a job that was so miserable or boring for one reason or the other, or maybe both, miserable and boring, maybe very repetitious? Something about it just made it very hard to endure. Have you ever described that job as mind-numbing, soul-stealing, or have you ever described it as your soul is draining out and leaking out onto the floor? If so, you understand already the exact principle and entire point of this whole entire video. That's exactly what's happening. When you're exposed to long-term trauma, the spirit gradually evacuates from you. This is why you start to feel like a zombie. This is why you have low to no energy. This is why you feel extremely heavy, even though you may not be a heavy person. The spirit makes a person light. It keeps you kind of upright. It keeps you light on your feet. So when your spirit is starting to leak out onto the floor, your spirit is actually evacuating from your body because your body is being exposed to long-term trauma. This is what I believe happens in death. I believe that the body becomes damaged beyond repair, and it's the equivalent of you totaling your car. So death is a kind of a strange concept for me, and I'll definitely do a couple videos on that. But I don't really believe that we, the spirit, die. I don't want to get into all that on this video. Let me stay on topic. So, evacuation of the spirit. My primary channel is all about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. And often the people who are in those situations are exposed to narcissistic abuse over a long period of time. And as a result, they feel like shells of their former selves. They feel like hollow versions of their former selves, and they absolutely are. The reason is because the spirit has moved out of that body, but the body is not necessarily damaged. The body is not totaled. The body is just not functional enough for the spirit to remain in it. So it evacuates, but it never forgets the address. So how does this evacuation happen? It's not an instantaneous thing. I like to think of it like a funnel or an hourglass where you flip it over and little grains of sand drop in, drop in, drop in, drop in. Then you flip it over and then the same thing happens until one side is completely empty. So when the spirit is evacuating, you've just flipped that hourglass and it's slowly draining out. Slowly. It takes time. It's not something that occurs instantly, which is why it's sometimes very hard to notice that your spirit is slowly leaving your body. But you know it when it's gone. You feel it because the human body itself is not a fun place to be in. It's heavy, it aches, it hurts, it gets sick. It's very useful for its purpose, which is carrying us around life. But it's also not the most fun thing to be in all the time. Would you want to spend your entire life in your car? Would you want to live your entire life? Let's say you live to be 88. Would you want to live 88 years in your vehicle? No, you wouldn't. It's not fun. It's there for a purpose, but it's not fun. So again, this is why I believe the spirit leaves at night. It has to get out of the car, stretch its legs, stretch its wings, fly around, go converse with other spirits. I believe this is what dreams are. Dreams are just what our spirits are up to when the vehicle is asleep or parked. And it comes back slowly as well. So when you wake up, the reason you feel groggy is because your spirit is slowly draining back into your body. Again, it's not something that occurs quickly. For me, it takes about 2 or 3 hours for my full spirit to return to me, and that's with coffee. Without coffee, it could take even longer, but it takes a couple hours for the hourglass to finish filling up, for all the grains of sand to finish dropping in. So when we're exposed to stress long term, those grains of sand are gradually draining out. And if you don't find a way to flip the hourglass back and recapture those, they eventually will all drain out until your spirit has completely left the building. This is where depression sets in. This is where I believe people commit suicide, because it's almost like, I cannot live here. My spirit cannot live in this body. I refuse to try to force my spirit to live in this body. So they do the ultimate in evacuation, which is destroying the vehicle itself. They total the vehicle themselves to permanently free the spirit. So in regard to healing from all different types of abuse, here's my personal theory. It takes time to heal. We know that, but it also takes time for your spirit to return to itself. So imagine if your vehicle was involved in a severe accident. It wasn't totaled, but it had a lot of damage. It's going to spend a lot of time in the shop. And then even once the shop gives you your car back and has checked off and said your car is good to drive, you're probably still going to be somewhat hesitant about driving that car because you know what happened to it. You know what it's been through. So you're going to be a little bit gun shy in terms of doing the same things you used to do with that vehicle. You might take turns a little bit slower. You may not go full speed right away because you don't trust the car yet. You don't trust the repairs yet. You don't trust that they've found all the problems and fix them all. So you're a little bit uneasy with your car when it gets returned to you from repairs. However, over time, you start to realize, hey, they did do a pretty good job on these repairs. These are some solid repairs. You pick up your speed a little bit. You start taking your turns a little bit faster. And before you know it, you're driving that same car again as if nothing ever happened to it. I believe the exact same thing happens with the human body and the spirit. The human goes through some trauma, long-term, short-term, but trauma nonetheless. And then from there, once the body is repaired, and usually that occurs when someone has removed themselves from the source of trauma, it takes the spirit some time to return to the body and feel safe there and feel comfortable enough to occupy that house again or occupy that vehicle again. This could take months. It could take years. For me, I've found it takes me about 3 months to recover from a serious trauma. And the whole thing about it with us and with being human and our spirits is we don't realize it right away. We don't realize what's happening until we're on the other end of our spirit returning to our body. And then you can look back and go, wow, I was really depressed. Wow, I was really down and out. Or you'll hear people say things like, I feel like myself again. I wasn't myself these past couple months or these past couple of years. I'm starting to feel like myself again. When was the last time you felt like yourself, your real, genuine, authentic self? Prior to me healing from narcissistic abuse, I hadn't felt like myself since I was like 16 or 17 years old. And then all throughout my 20s, I was subject to all kinds of narcissistic abuse. Finally broke free from the majority of it, and only now am I finally starting to feel like myself again. And it's weird because I didn't even notice that myself had left. I thought, this is just life. This is who I am now. These are the circumstances now. This is how I respond to things now. This is just who I am now. But it's not necessarily true. If you've been through a trauma, you won't be yourself for a couple of months and possibly even a few years while your spirit feels comfortable enough to return to you. You are the spirit's vehicle. So with all of that said, if you've recently or even in the past been through something particularly traumatic, especially a long-term exposure to abuse, and you still haven't quite gotten over it, that's okay. It's just taking your spirit a little bit longer to return to itself because it does not trust that the vehicle it once occupied is sound. So give yourself a little bit more credit for the progress that you've made, and also just acknowledge the fact that just like that hourglass, your spirit is going to slowly drain back into you, much in the same way that it slowly drained out. I hope you guys have enjoyed this pilot video. I very much look forward to your comments, and if you like it, I'll continue along this thread on this channel and also keep my other channel going, completely devoted to narcissism, healing, and avoiding narcissistic abuse. Thank you guys so much for visiting a Deeper PTE.